Welcome back to The Nation and welcome to our media panel, advertising executive David Walden and media commentator Irene Gardner. Welcome to you both.
Hello there.
Hello. Right, let's start with Lydia Ko and the interesting way that she announced that she was going professional.
Are you ready to go pro yet? Are you ready?
Izzy, I'm trying to putt here. You're driving me crazy.
Come on, I've been waiting all day. Turn.
Please, please.
Oh, no! Well, if you can beat me, you can definitely handle the pressure of going pro. Must be time now.
Okay, I'll do it.
What?
I'll do it.
Do what?
Turn pro.
Right now, like this moment, right here, right now.
Yep, right now, right this second, definitely.
Yes! Yes!
I love this. I love the way it was announced and that, you know, beautiful footage and a bit of humour, Dave, and I just thought it was a fabulous way, much better than a press conference in a room.
Oh, look, I think this was clever on a couple of counts. I think, first of all, control and then content. And control, because Lydia's not exactly a seasoned media person yet. She's quite shy. So this was a great opportunity to do it in a managed and controlled way. So she wasn't sort of thrust in front of a press conference and thrown to the wolves of journalism. So they did that. I love the fact that then the content has become incredibly much wider than they would have got from a normal press. I mean, teaming her with an AB, you know,
with an all-black Israel Dagg.
An all-black Israel Dagg, he's pretty telegenic. They seem to have some good chemistry together. Beautiful backdrop, nicely, but it's got some humour. There's a bit of a story there. I mean, and this is the new way that we're going to see a lot more of these announcements made. We're going to see people making little pieces of content, getting them out there, and the old days of the old press conference might well and truly be over.
And the grotty room underneath the fluorescent lights and things. It was a clever way to do it, wasn't it?
And a much greater audience. I mean, this has been picked up now probably because of Israel Dagg. It's been seen in South Africa. It's been seen in all sorts of places. So that's gone boom. And I think they're both ambassadors for golf, so there was a relevance. I mean, he didn't just turn up because he was an All Black.
I didn't actually realise that.
Yeah, he's an ambassador for golf and so is she. And so someone went, hey, this is a really good idea to put these two together. Stunning backdrop. The job done.
Yeah.
I think it also worked because the announcement had sort of already come out, and so it was a confirmation rather than an announcement, and so I think they needed something a bit clever and a bit different. It's beautifully done, and it's very interesting, you know, as Dave said, with the technology we have now, it's going to be the modern way. But it's still going to have that thing that PR people, you know, using news releases and launches and all those kinds of things over the years, you're still going to have to do it in a clever and fresh way. Like they got on the main network news bulletins because of that. But, you know, if you just did a little video saying, you know, here's a good soap powder, I don't think you could expect to get quite the same traction. So, you know, do it well.
I think they got around the fact that she is 16 and, as we know, quite shy, and that this sort of took her out of the environment of sitting around in front of 30 sports hats.
Absolutely. As I said, you know, control and then content. Control was put her in an environment where if she fluffs it, we can do it again and cut it together in a brilliant way. And she's naturally happy and relaxed in the thing. She's not looking as if she's got 15 people about to take her apart. And I think it worked brilliantly. And I think this company that had put this together has done a number of these sorts of things they've shot All Black content, they've shot other sporting type content, so they are pretty good at it. And they were doing something for the golf people and had the inspired idea of, hey, let's use it as a way of announcing Lydia's going pro. And hats off to them. Well done.
Yeah, Augusto, is it the company?
Augusto,
yeah. No, they've done a great job, I think. And lovely relationship. Actually, Israel Dagg's a really good TV performer.
Yeah,
I think he'll probably get a gig off this one. So.
Well, the interesting thing is that often you see All Blacks in TV commercials looking kind of unnatural and a bit sort of forced and everything. He's really good, he's really relaxed and he's cool.
OK, TV3's announced its new season lineup as well. This is a change of course. Let's have a look at it. So this is X Factor now. It's my understanding that they won't have X Factor New Zealand. It could be wrong next year. I think it's just X Factor America. It's a biannual thing, I think, X Factor. Paul Henry, he's in the mix as well. And, of course, Kevin Spacey with TV3's Trump drama, really, House of Cards as well. So lots that they announced. I guess, first of all, let's talk about the return to our screens of Paul Henry, Irene.
Well, yes, because the MediaWorks have not announced which time slot yet, and so there's a lot of speculation going on. Will it be the current Nightline time slot at 10:30, or will it be 5:30 as a good, strong lead-in to the news? I'm thinking they'll probably go for later because it probably gives Paul more free rein to be Paul. On the other hand, perhaps the reason they're holding back that final announcement may just be for strategic reasons, competitive reasons, but it may be that they haven't 100% decided because depending on depending on how much of a problem this getting a good lead in for 3 News becomes, they may need to put it at 5:30. I suspect he would work better at 10:30.
Be a bit looser.
But yeah, watch the space.
And if it's at 10:30, and it could be, I guess, something like a Letterman-style show, which would be interesting to see. Yeah,
Jon
Today
Stewart.
Show. Yep, absolutely.
But I mean, I'm just so thrilled that he's back because we need a bit more humour, a bit more irreverence, a bit more unpredictability. I mean, he's a master at it, and I think this slot, if it is late evening, is going to work brilliantly for him. And hats off to MediaWorks, bringing him back and getting him. Let's get on with it. I can't wait for him to arrive.
It's funny, isn't it? Because polarising character that he is, but he's perhaps the broadcaster most people talk to me about whenever they talk about anyone. They want to talk about Paul Henry, and he still has a very big popularity base, doesn't he?
Absolutely. People love him or hate him, and that kind of works on telly if you've got that polarising thing. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that one turns out.
And I guess whether or not he does stay in that sort of Letterman-style, interviewing style, or whether, he's best placed to whether he would be on his own, Dave, or whether he brings someone else in.
If it is the demise of Nightline, which is kind of interesting, Bill Ralston, who's normally in one of these slots, was the first person who on Nightline all those years ago. So if it is the end of Nightline and the arrival of the Paul Henry show, it's another little milestone of television history.
All right, what do we make of this drama, The House of Cards? Because that seems to be, a big pull for TV3, and they've announced in their new season
Certainly
launch.
the ones that most attracted my attention were House of Cards, which is an Emmy winner with Kevin Spacey, based on the old British show. But there's also Blacklist with James Spader, was another American one that made me prick up my ears. And there's Hannibal and Rake and Michael J. Fox show. There's a couple of glaring omissions, though, which perhaps we'll come to.
Right, I'm intrigued.
Now, later?
OK. We'll carry on talking about some of these issues as well. On a Friday night, for example, I think that TV3's kind of sewn that up with Jono and Ben and with Graham Norton
7 days.
7 days. I mean,
but guys, what about the return of the GC? Come on, aunties. Come on, aunties.
That was what you were talking about, wasn't it?
This is the one.
Yeah.
And again, it was polarising, and some people loved it, some people hated it, some people took it to task.
It was
I think
escapism for me. It was just,
Good.
I can see you're frowning, Irene.
Oh, yes,
not my cup of tea.
Really?
It also showed urban Maori in a contemporary setting and
Doing
getting on with their
well.
lives and doing quite well. So I don't think you can, knock that.
That's true.
And if they were a bit of a role model for some people back here, then that's a good thing. But listen, it's entertainment, and it was again kind of pushing the boundaries. And I'm thrilled that it's coming back.
Just
the GC.
Picking up on the local part of the announcements for 3 and 4, I guess the most interesting thing from a sort of a media perspective is the importance now of big stunt series. In the past, they've had The Block and they've had X Factor, but there's 2 new ones coming: Cadbury's Dream Factory and the Great Food Race, it's called, fronted by Benji Marshall's wife Zoe. These are those big stunty reality shows, which are kind of the only thing now that get everybody watching TV at the same time.
Well, the interesting,
very important to networks.
The interesting thing, sorry darling, but is that these things don't come about now until they sew up the funding. So it's Air New Zealand and Countdown. Unless they'd put the money in, the Great Food Race wouldn't have been happening. Unless Cadbury put the money in, no one was having a dream. It'd be a nightmare. But it shows how I think now the networks are beginning to rely on outside funding, because if it's not there, the program just doesn't get made.
Yeah, we'll start to see more of that sort of sponsored
You're going to see
programming.
a hell of a lot more of it, and the way in which the advertisers are immersed. I mean, The Block is chock-a-block, full of sponsors, to the point where it's almost overkill, and I kind of wonder, but it was the funding of all of those advertisers that got it there and brought it back, and I see it's coming back for a 3rd season.
Can't have too
Although
many.
X Factor wasn't on the list, and we don't know whether that's because it's just not confirmed yet, or whether they're going to have to move it out of 2014 next year into 2015 and do it every second year.
Is that because of New Zealand's Got Talent? They do them sort of alternate years?
Well, it's an expensive show. They're probably relying on NZ On Air money. NZ On Air's got to do Got Talent for the other channel. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that transpires.
All right, Irene Gardner and David Walden, thank you for your time this morning.